Just waiting for a few minutes for some attendees to attend. We have 1 minute before 3:30. It is 3:30 now. I'm going to go ahead and start the Facebook Live. Start live video. I'm starting my video. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and greetings to all of you who have decided to join in today's webinar. And this is the series one of three series of webinars. My name is Windsor Lendor. I am an executive life coach. If you could choose to honor me and to know more about me and my work and my service to others, please visit lendorconsulting.com. Again, welcome to all of you in Facebook Live as well and Zoom. And for the Zoom attendees, this is an interactive webinar. As well for the Facebook Live individuals as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to post it on my wall and Facebook wall or here in Zoom message box as well. So again, this is going to be an interactive session. With that said, today's series of webinars is about the process of making you available to greater love, making you available to the relationships you desire. What does that mean? This is really actually about the journey of intimacy, the journey of full creative expression, fulfilling relationships. At the end of the day, you know what it's all about? It's about the journey of the heart. Again, this is an interactive session, and I do hope you could find the courage to share your thoughts and comments as well. And for all the series, I will publish a workbook for each series of webinars. And for those who has paid full price for the series, they will have automatic access to those workbooks. And if you choose to access those workbooks, you're welcome to email me at windsor@lendorconsulting.com. And I will add you to the list. As soon as I publish the workbooks, I will notify you as well. Well, with that said, what I like to start from the top is to really take a look at the whole series, series one. And we already completed 3 webinars. And last week we completed 4 webinars. And today is the 5th one. So the 3 webinars was about the value of you, really, on your relationship, the value of the person, the human being that you are, and your relationships. We also learned that our belief system is the actual set of precepts from which we bring into our relationships. Yeah, those which govern our thoughts, our words, and actions to our relationships. We also learned the requirements that will allow us to become receptive to the wonders that promotes the relationship we desire, and the requirements that will lead us to experience conscious loving, intimacy, trust, and harmony. Do you have any questions? Again, I understand some of you are shy and you're not obligated to, because relationship is it's personal, isn't it? So I appreciate if you can insert your thoughts, your comments to this process as well, but you don't have to, and I understand. So any questions so far? Well, let's take another brief look at the first 3 webinars. The first webinars, what I have done, I've highlighted the importance for us to establish the ideal standards and outcomes for how we want to be on a co-committed relationship. You see, it's a needed process that calls us or require us to be aware of the transforming value of the heart. That kind of work is within, and that can only happen through self-improvement and the acquisition of personal skills. What do I mean by that? I mean, we will have to do the transformational work that will bring us to an exciting new state, which I call co-creativity. Do you have any questions? Well, last week's webinar, we started part 1 of 2 webinar that is becoming full human being in our relationships. That was part 1 of 2 last Wednesday. Today it's part of 2, the last part of that, or last webinar for this series. So let's go back again from last week. Last week, what I've done, I highlighted the elements on why we will want to become full human beings in our relationship. Why? And the quality of healthy relationships. And I also took a bird's eye view of what a toxic relationship look like. Do you have any questions? Again, for my Facebook Live and the relationship group, please feel free to post your comments or your questions. If I don't get to your questions, I'll be happy to come back and do so. Well, any questions so far? So with that said, this brings us to today, part 2 of the last webinar for this series. And I'm going to lead this webinar, this session, to the following questions, okay? If you want me to repeat the questions, please feel free to raise your hand or post something here on Facebook Live as well. So question 1, what will it take for us? What will it take for us to identify ways to heal the wounds of the heart? Get that? Again, let's say it again. What will it take for us to identify ways to heal the wounds of the heart? Question 2. All right, question 2, got it? Why would we want to explore the journey of infinite love and true love? Why? Why would we want to explore the journey to infinite love, true love? And lastly, why would we want to clarify the results we are committed to achieving the relationships we desire? I said again, why would we want to clarify the results we are committed to achieving the relationships we desire? Well, please do take some time to think about these questions. Let's just take a minute or so. Take a moment. And again, the questions are, what will it take for us to identify ways to heal the wounds of the heart? Question 2, why? Why would we want to explore the journey to infinite love? You know what I mean by infinite love? I am talking about true love. Why would we want to explore that journey? And last question, why would we want to clarify? To clarify the results we are committed to achieving the relationship, the type of relationships we desire. Any thoughts so far about these questions? Well, the wounds of the heart, what would it take for us to heal it? See, what I want us to do, though, before even attempt to answer that question, let's take a look at the following. I do believe in order to do that, even entertain that question, we must make sure, one, we are ready to take 100% responsibility for our lives. important. Two, we must be ready to do the work that is required for us to respond successfully to our true feelings, our needs, our thoughts, and our wants. Do you agree? Now, I'm not done yet. There's two more I believe that we need to be ready to do, which is bring us to the three. We must be ready to cultivate a structure that honors maintaining a valued-based life. And lastly, four, we must be ready to take a personal accountability to what we are feeling and unlock the door to our healing and well-being as well. Any thoughts? Any thought, please do feel free to share your thoughts and experiences regarding the wounds of the heart. And I'm pretty sure most of us here, at one point in our lives, we've been in relationships that we feel our hearts has been broken into little pieces. Any thoughts? Well, my friends, these four agreements, those four things I just mentioned earlier, I believe they offer us an opportunity to create a functional life, a life that will allow us to be fully human, to be fully human beings, I must say, or functional human beings in our relationships. But this will require the following qualities. I believe for this to work as functional human beings, we need to acquire these qualities. One, we must give up all excuses in all victim stories. That is, we must become experts on establishing space between life and reaction to self-monitoring. We must also have the quality of improving the scale of our emotional intelligence quotient. And there we must continue to maintain the commitment as mature and functional adults through to the lenses of personal accountability, optimism, high self-esteem, responsibility, and self-confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, from this understanding, it has come to my attention that the success of identifying the ways to heal the wounds of the heart truly relies on our ability to do the smart work, the work that is required for us to become functional human beings in our relationships, and the healthiest possible version of who we uniquely are. Do you have any questions? Do you have any question about the smart work that is required? What are your thoughts? What are your comments? You see, ladies and gentlemen, when I refer to a smart work, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the work that is called for the following. One, we must do the work for personal transformational change. And as change experts, we must maintain true to our relationships core values with the supporting beliefs, of course. Two, we must become the individuals we aspire to be and choose what is valuable and important for our well-being. Three, we must be mindful of the impact of our self-relationship and the nature of our relationships with others. I say that again, we must be mindful of the impact of our self-relationship and the nature of our relationships with others as we create a coherent organization of mental processes by being emotionally intelligent. Any questions? Any thoughts? He said, let me do this. I'm going to invite you to take a few minutes to reflect on the following questions. You ready? Question 1. What do you think is the impact of your self-relationship and the nature of your relationships with others? What do you think is that impact to your relationships, to your self-relationships, and the nature of your relationship with others? And question 2, and last question, what do you believe that binds us to the past when it comes to our relationships and our wounds? I'm referring to the wounds of the heart, remember? Let me repeat this question again, all right? What do you think is the impact of your self-relationship and the nature of your relationships with others? And question 2, what do you believe that binds us to the past when it comes to our relationships and our wounds? Please take a moment and reflect on these questions. And meanwhile, I'm going to have some water, okay? You all right with you? Thank you. Water is good. Yes, please, do feel free to share your thoughts, and do note this is an interactive event. Again, it's optional. And I understand relationship, talk about relationship, it takes courage. It does. So it's okay not to just be silent and just listen. But that's fine too. But I'm hoping you're taking note, especially with these questions. And I'd love to hear from you. You're welcome to email me at windsor@lendorconsulting.com. And I'd be happy to talk to you at no cost, a free consultation, of course. Again, the questions were, what do you believe, or what do you think is the impact of your self-relationship and the nature of your relationships with others? What do you believe that binds us to the past when it comes to our relationships and our wounds? Friends, let's take it from the top. First, I trust you will agree, most of us have been wounded. I've been wounded to some degree. There's a false self emerges. Our feelings, our needs, and our wants are shamed. And our life becomes a quest for defending against pain rather than vibrantly interacting with this gift, the gift of life. It is also certain if our self-relationship is mystified, our friendships, our marriage, and any other loving relationships will be based on mystified love. That is, if our relationship is conscious, if our relationship is functional, if our relationship and a self-relationship is healthy or spiritual, yes, we can create conscious, loving, healthy, and fulfilling relationships with friends and intimate partners. Would you agree? Any questions, any thoughts? Well, ladies and gentlemen, with all that said, I do believe the question remains, what do you believe that binds us to the past when it comes to our relationships and our wounds? Come on, take a moment. Think about that. What do you believe that binds us to the past when it comes to our relationships and our wounds, the wounds of the heart? But take a moment, think about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I do believe our mystification binds us to the past, and we get absorbed in our wounds. We do. We create what I call protective trance states in response to painful experiences in childhood, and how we later continue to use these trances to protect us, even when they are no longer necessary. Ladies and gentlemen, trance is a wonderful way to describe the frozen and out of touch state of mystified love. But however, there is hope, ladies and gentlemen. There is hope. There's hope. What am I talking about in reference to hope? Because I believe if we actually created our own trances through our early stage of this journey, even if we have no memory of doing so, I do believe we can learn to break through our trances as adults, as functional adults. Wait a minute. This can only happen, not only just adults, we have to be functional human beings to make it happen. In other words, we can demystify ourselves through reflection, through meditation, and courage to trust someone to help us in a thought-provoking and creative process that will inspire us to discover the steps necessary to heal the wounds of the heart. Any questions? Well, my friends, I don't blame you for not sharing your thoughts, because again, relationship is personal, especially when we talk about the wounds of the heart, for it is painful. Nevertheless, I trust we will accept the call to be fearless. Yes, be fearless and do the work to heal our wounds as we practice personal accountability for the part we play in our relationships, and be vigilant with a penetrating self-awareness to keep the character of our ego, might say, at bay and under control. We must do that. So my question for you, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, what had real meaning to you right now? What had real meaning for you from what you've heard so far? And what does happen when we accept personal accountability and decline to project? Yes, I said again, what does happen when we accept personal accountability and decline to project in our relationships? Take a moment, think about these questions. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, mark me well, or mark this proven approach in your journal, in your mind. That is, until we accept personal accountability, our authentic self cannot be directly accessed to fully experience true love. From our observation and experiences with practicing personal accountability, I believe we will see that we have choices. Yes, we will see that. We have choices that are supported by our personal power to take 100% responsibility for our lives. That is, we are capable of taking ownership of what we are feeling and refuse to respond to people or situation defensively. Why? Because defenses only weaken our sense of self, ladies and gentlemen. Distance us from other people and drain our energy from our body and from our mind. Ladies and gentlemen, may I invite you to take a moment and to reflect on the following questions. Why is taking responsibility not easy for some folks? What do you think that is? I say it again. Why is taking 100% responsibility, simply taking responsibility, is not an easy thing for some of us? Why is that? And what comes to your mind when you think of these words? Personal boundaries. Seriously, what comes to your mind when you hear these words, when you think of these words? Personal boundaries. And lastly, how do you project your emotional wounds in your relationship? I know you don't need to share this. I want you just simply reflect, because this is personal. I got it. Because it may even trigger something here you're not ready to deal with. But I invite you to reach out to me. Free consultation. Email me, windsor@lendoconsulting.com, and I'll be happy to work with you and to your emotional wounds. But with that said, right now, take a moment and think about that. How do you project your emotional wounds in your relationship? Few minutes, okay? It's tough, isn't it? Sometimes you fall in love with someone and you find yourself with a broken heart. You find yourself with wounds and pain. And whatever we think of that person, the expectation you have, it's no more. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is true. It is true. Taking responsibility is not easy. It's not easy at all, mostly for some of us. Why? Because at times our personal boundaries are exposed. And most of us, we have a tendency to pass the buck. You know, what we do, because the way we grow up, we want to pass that responsibilities to something outside of us, some external being, some external force. It is also not always easy to manage behavioral patterns. It's not an easy thing to do. Life is not an easy thing. It requires some work. It requires some transformational change. Nevertheless, by establishing the principle of responsibility, I believe we can observe our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our actions, and the results of our actions. Then let me share with you what comes to my mind when I think of the words personal boundaries. You see, the following narrative come to my mind when I think of everything I think, I feel, I say belong to me. You see, that's what I think when I think about personal boundary. When I think personal boundary and relationship, I am not simply referring, I'm creating a wall, don't go cross here. No. For me, it means everything I think, everything I feel, everything I say or do belongs to me, because I am responsible for all of it. Nothing, no external being, no external force are responsible for my feeling, for what I think, for what I say and do. I am solely responsible for these things. Now, with this perspective of personal boundaries, what do you think? I want you to think about this question. Again, what do you think it means from your perspective? What is projection? You know, what does that mean? The word projection is a reference to your emotions. What does that mean to you? Take a moment, think about it. Again, from what you hear from me, in reference to when I hear the words, when I think of the words, personal boundaries. And when you come to your emotion, what do you think it means? What do you think? What is projection? Think about that. Okay, watch this. You ready? Projection, from my understanding, is a mechanism of denial. When we focus outwardly on the other person and that relationship, I call that it is unusual, unconscious attempt to keep us from feeling the intensity of our own wounds. Let me say that again. Let me repeat that. When we focus outwardly on the other person, it is an attempt to keep us from feeling the intensity of our own wounds. That is unconscious. That happened unconsciously. When our hurts and wounds are running the show, imagine those things may happen unconsciously. When your hurt, your wound is running the relationships, I guarantee you, it's easy to lose sight. At that moment, it's nothing you can do, because this is what running your life: the wounds, the pain, the agony of what happened unconsciously. And again, you're going to lose sight. We're going to lose sight in this, and then start blaming the other person for what we feel. Ladies and gentlemen, I trust you will agree that all forms of projection can be boiled down to one simple message. What is that? You may say, you may ask. It's not about me, it is about you. Yes, all form of projection can boil down to that one message. It's not about me, it's about you. That is the content here. I'm refusing to look at my stuff and trying to hand it to you. That's what you're saying. That's what we're saying when we project. When we do not establish responsibility to an accountability structure for our feelings, we judge others. Oh, yes, we have opinion. We judge them. It's about right or wrong. And we judge others for doing things that we were ashamed for doing in our early stage in that journey. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have any questions? Any thoughts so far from what you've heard so far? Any thoughts? Ladies and gentlemen, from my 30 years my experiences as a life coach, as an executive coach, and through my relationship experiences and research, let me tell you what I have discovered. I've discovered when we commonly play the game of projection in very creative ways, you know what we've done? We do that by attacking the other person. And when our wounds are triggered, we feel attacked, and it can feel like attacking back is justified. So we pretending not to be angry. Come on, I am convinced we play that we're not angry. An attempt to convince the other person that they are the one who is angry. 3, by admitting to the other person we are angry, but blaming them and the cause of the anger. Now, they're not the cause. 4, you know what we do? By trying to fix this individual, by trying to change the other person so that we will not have to feel the pain of our own wound. Does that sound familiar? 5, shaming. Yeah, we shame by shaming the other person so we do not have to feel our own shame that was originally projected onto us. 6, by withdrawing from the other person while blaming them for our upset. And lastly, by depending on the other person for our own well-being and attributing our experience of love to them. Ladies and gentlemen, what say you? What did you hear underneath this list? The 7 things I mentioned to you. Does it sound familiar? Come on. I'm pretty sure at least one of them sound familiar to you. But take a minute, share your thoughts if you can. If you allow yourself to be brave enough, but it's okay because this is painful. But nevertheless, do not feel bad at all. Don't feel bad. If it does, if those things sound familiar to you. We all are unconsciously give up establishing responsibility, personal accountability, and practice various forms of projection at one time or another. Ladies and gentlemen, it is also true. It is also true there will always be challenges in life. There will be in life and relationships. That's what it's all about, this journey. Nevertheless, it is not our job, though. It is not our job to eliminate life's event. We're not here to take away life's events, but to do our best, to be our best. We must take tiny steps. We must take a radical approach to let go of old wounds, let go of pains, of fears, and negative emotions. Yes, we must do the work to do so. For I believe it's only through a radical approach to forgiveness is one of the proven approaches that can help us with letting go of old wounds and negative emotions and replace them. See what I said? You can just get rid of something. Whatever you remove, you got to replace them with something new, something useful, something kind, something with intimacy. He say, it's truly a beautiful thing, but the work has to be done. Any questions? Come on. I know some of you do have some questions. But this is indeed a good opportunity for us to accept ourselves with grace. I would believe one of the things we have to embrace our humanness with grace, with compassion. We must become functional human beings throughout our journey of the heart. Yes, you may ask why. I'll tell you why. Why? Because this will help us not to look to others for approval and move forward in living a valued life. Ladies and gentlemen, remember this. What anyone thinks or whether it is the right thing to do is none of our business. In our heart of hearts, if it feels right, I invite you to act on it. And there we can explore the journey to infinite love, true love. For there I'm certain without the application, knowledge of this principle will prove to be useless. We will continue to project and make assumptions that will create problems of time, chaos in our relationships. Thus, I invite you to take a minute or so to share your thoughts on what will you want to explore. Why would you want to explore the journey to infinite love? Yeah, that journey to greater love, that journey to caring, to intimacy, the journey to true love. Why would you want to do that? Think about that. Why? Why? I can only speak for myself. The journey to infinite love, the journey to greater love. For me, it is a journey to my higher level of consciousness. Yeah, it starts with me. It's about bringing myself to a place of a higher consciousness. Exploring that journey has grounded me. It has allowed me to be receptive to reliable happiness. Yes, and fulfillment. But ladies and gentlemen, that didn't just happen overnight. It's been a journey for me. It's been work. That means I had to do the smart work, the work that was required for me to learn a new level of love and respect for the universe respect for the environment, respect myself, respect for others, reverence to all lives. I have chosen to explore that journey to infinite love. That journey to greater love was to learn to trust myself again. Do you hear me? I didn't say to trust others, it's to trust myself first. You see, this has helped me to accelerate my ability to tap into my unlimited capacity to give and receive love and clarify the results I was committed to achieving, the relationships I desire. So the question remains here, ladies and gentlemen, why would we want to clarify the result we are committed to achieving the relationship we desire? Please take a moment to reflect on that. I said again, why would we want to clarify the results we are committed to achieving the relationship we desire? Why? Come on, think about that. Come on. Would you like to share? No? That's fine. I got it. Well, I trust by now, I trust you will agree, first of all. Clarifying the results we are committed to achieving the relationship we desire. What is it about? It's about one, examining our underlying expectation. Let's take a look again. I said again, it's really about examining our underlying expectation. What do I mean by that? I trust you are aware unfulfilling expectation can lead to anger. Right? It is natural that we have expectation. I don't have a problem with that. We all have expectations. But the challenge with that, we must ask ourselves some questions here. As we are prepared to meet up to our own expectation, are we ready? Are we prepared to meet up our own expectation? We need to ask ourselves that question first. And then we also need to ask ourselves, can others meet up with our expectation? Let me go back again to the first thing in reference to our commitment to achieving the relationship we desire, because it is about one, examining our underlying expectations. Yes, I'm sure you are aware, unfulfilled expectation and relationships can lead to disaster, anger. And with that said, it's also natural for us to have expectations. However, then we must be fair here. We must ask ourselves, how far we are prepared to meet up to our expectation, our own expectations. And lastly, how far can others meet up with our expectations? Ladies and gentlemen, perhaps we have higher or different relationship standards than others. We do. We all probably have a different approach to it, different standards. Perhaps we expect others to follow our relationship standards as well as ourselves. Perhaps. We may even be right about those expectations. You may be right. Nevertheless, these are our expectations of others, not theirs. They are who they are. This man or this woman you're attracted to, they come to this relationship with their own standards and relationships, their own expectation. And one root of displeasure is not accepting people as they are. You can't, how could you go into a relationship with a person you're not willing to accept them for who they are? I also find entitlement thinking. When you go to, we have some folks, they go into a relationship with this entitlement, how things, what they feel they deserve. And those high expectations are also the cause of deep sense of powerlessness and prolonged resentment about being treated unfairly. From my perspective, it is the deepest source of many people's dissatisfaction and anger in relationships. Two, we choose happiness instead of, we have a choice. We could choose happiness instead of anger. Holding on to anger, ladies and gentlemen, has other self-destructive consequences. We have to learn to let go of anger. It's okay to be angry, but holding on to it, there are a great deal of destructive consequences by doing so. These consequences, including negative effects, I shall say, on your body. I mean, really, it's about you too. Because keeping anger inside, not processing it, not getting the help you need to deal with that, to let go, it's not good for you. It's unhealthy. It'll take away from your enjoyment as well. At the present moment, you cannot feel angry and happy at the same time. It is impossible, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, we have a choice, anger or happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, lastly, take the time we need to examining our underlying expectations. This is time for you now to examining. We need to take time to examining our underlying expectations about what we need to achieve the relationship we desire, a relationship that is healthy. My friends, this is where we can be ourselves without fear. This is the place where we feel safe. And this place to achieving the life we desire, where we feel safe, we feel comfortable, we feel secure. This is the place where we can mirror caring, respect, intimacy, compassion. The way where we can share control our decision making and show a shared desire for each other happiness, each other's happiness. Yes, this is where we can feel connected to our own individual spiritual essence, our true selves, in all of the ups and downs of daily living. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to 5 of that list. This is where we can grow creatively as independent individuals while we grow closer together in intimacy. 6, this is where we feel abundant flow of creative energy because we do not squander the relationship on conflicts that are never resolved. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, we can learn to love so generously and wisely that our relationship become a sacred treasure to each other and an inspiration to others. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what I call this option? I call this option spiritual-centered relationships. And this partnership model, soulful love is at the center of it, at the center of the relationships. And that relationships is all about creating the comfortable flow of harmony and exploring this journey of the heart, the journey to infinite love, true love, greater love. So any questions? Because we're coming up to the end of this session, especially this series. So feel free to email me at winslow@lendoconsulting.com or visit my website at lendoconsulting.com if you have any questions regarding series 1. Series 2 starts June 23rd. And see, June 16th is my birthday. This is my born birthday. So I'm going to take a couple of weeks off in celebration of my birthday. Is that okay with you? So I'm coming back for series 2 starting June 23rd. And this series has three webinars. The core topic of that series is about the core issue of mistrust and identify faulty love. As to sign up for series 2 and 3, of course, it's posted on my website again at lendorconsulting.com. So thank you for listening. And for those who share in Zoom and the text box, appreciate it. And for now, may longevity and prosperity be with you well into your journey, the journey of the heart. And may you live up to your highest human calling. That calling is your conscious, loving relationship, because that relationship awaits you. It's the relationship you desire. Namaste. Thank you.